getting super hot in Arizona. So it's Sunday, it's meal prep day, it's also laundry day. So you're gonna see me rocking the Ranger panties because that's what we do on Sundays. It's all right. But I'm taking you inside of my kitchen. I'm showing you how I meal prep, some of the keys, some of the mistakes that I see, and also some of the things that have gotten, really not just some of the things, all of the things that have gotten myself success in the past, as well as all my clients, and feeling really, really confident about your food prep so that you can kick your week off with confidence, knowing I've got the food, I've got the knowledge, and I don't have to worry about playing macro Tetris or making sure that I have perfectly prepped food, because I'm able to mix and match and keep some variety in my diet so that my food is not just fuel, it's actually something flavorful and enjoyable. So with that said, we're going to my kitchen while we're in my kitchen, but we're gonna take it for real, talking about my meal prep strategy that I think you'll find a ton of success with. Welcome to my kitchen. It's Sunday, or we might call that National Meal Prep Day. But I wanted to go through what my process is and what probably about 90% of my clients, the people that I work with through nutrition, do for their meal prep in a week. Now it could be Sunday or it could be another day, depending on the job. Most of the people that I work with are really busy throughout the week, and maybe you are too. So Sunday happens to be a really good day and to meal prep. And ideally, this is not something that has to take up your whole day. So that's another reason why I like to get started really, really early in the day with it. So sometimes what I'll even do is make breakfast, and then as I'm cleaning up the kitchen from breakfast, I'll go ahead and just start prepping the next whatever I need. And that will get me set up throughout the week. And there's a couple different ways to go about meal prep. Now, what you're probably familiar with is spend half the day on Sunday, if not the whole day on Sunday, getting out all your meal prep containers, lining up beautifully articulated and weighed foods, and have it all ready so it's just grab and go for the week, right? You get it all done in one day. Seems like it might be stress-free, right? But what happens a lot of times with that type of meal prepping is, one, it does take a lot of time, and it just doesn't have to be that complicated. And there can be a lot of pressure within that to, one, get it done, to keep up with recipes and keep it something that you want to keep doing. If you miss that day, that's a lot of pressure to make up and how you're going to go about the rest of the week, because how could you succeed without meal prep? And then the third or the fourth thing, I guess, would be not having enough food to last you through the weekend. So what I'm going to share with you today is exactly, again, what I do and what I teach most of my clients to do based on a similar schedule. And that is to prep food and not just meals. So the way that I call it is the dynamic duos method, because ideally you're gonna have 2 sources of protein, 2 carbs, 2 fats, and 2 veggies prepped throughout the week, so you can mix and match those at any time for any meal. And you're gonna have them prepared. As an example, these are carrots that I'm gonna get started roasting these probably a little bit later, because I'm gonna have some for dinner as well. But they're fresh, whole carrots, okay? They're unprocessed completely. I don't want to have any bleached, baby, peeled, shredded carrots at all, ideally, right? And I cut these all up so they kind of look like French fries, and I'll put some rosemary and olive oil on there, and they're going to turn out to be some amazing little carrot fries. Allie and I love these. So, as an example, these are some veggies that I cut up and prepared, and I also have cucumber, which I like to have every morning cut up. Again, I pretty much just take a handful. It's about 100 grams every morning. Great source of water, veggie, and fiber for my breakfast. So those are 2 examples. Other things that I've got for veggies are also frozen vegetables. So what you don't see in front of you is the green beans that I have, and I literally just pull them from the freezer and put them in a container like this, and they're good to go to just heat up throughout the week. Or you can roast them, and that's fine as well. And then I've also got some peppers. So I said at least 2. This is 3 sources of veggies that I have throughout the week that I can either cook or eat raw. There's value in these raw veggies because you have to chew them more and you can't just gulp them down, right? And so that adds this sort of mindfulness aspect that I love about raw veggies. And honestly, they go great with just a little salt and pepper. Everything but bagel seasoning is pretty key. I'm actually out of that this week, so I'm gonna have to restock it at the store. So those are a couple of examples right there. I've also got ground beef, which is 90% sirloin. I literally just ground it up, put it in the pot, let her cook on a slow, low mode. And it still is slow for ground beef, but it probably took no more than 10 minutes from start of task to end of task. That includes getting it out, getting the pot hot, cutting up the back, everything, right? And so that's why I really love having at least one ground animal protein, such as bison, beef, turkey, chicken, right? Any of those work well. I just personally prefer beef, and I've been eating the 96% beef for a while, so I just wanted to go with a little fattier variety and enjoy that. And then I've also got the chicken in the Instant Pot, which I'll slow cook. And the way I've got that, so this one is an Italian seasoned ground beef, and the chicken, Allie and I just kind of like this medley. I don't really know that it has a specific flavor that belongs to anything, but there's paprika in it, sweet paprika, curry powder, ground mustard, a little bit of ground ginger, and then salt and pepper. So we'll just shred that when it's done, gets nice and tender. So there are 2 really, really easily digestible sources. And then throughout the week, I'll grill steaks at least once as another part of prep day. And then we keep frozen fish, such as salmon, swai, and cod, which make really, really good tacos. And we have those all the time. It's actually what I'm having for dinner tonight. So I'll be doing that a little bit later, right in line with roasting my carrots. So just taking a look inside the pot, we've got our chicken thighs, not to be mistaken with the thunder thighs, but we're gonna slow cook this. It's kind of a combination of pressure cooking and the slow cook, because that's what I've found to be best for the Instant Pot. We actually broke our lid of the crock pot on the move down from Wisconsin, so we've had to use the Instant Pot for slow cooking. Not my favorite. However, I found that doing the pressure cook and keeping it warm, the literal keep warm setting, ends up with some pretty juicy and tender chicken thighs. And we always go chicken thighs because they're a lot juicier, as I said, and they're just a lot more flavorful than chicken breast, because honestly, that's just kind of a tired flavor for Allie and myself. So I'll just add water to this. They're already seasoned with just a little bit of olive oil on there, and it'll be good to go. Yeah, I really didn't have to do a whole lot for this, and I kind of prepared that as I was cooking my ground beef. So again, you can kind of see how I'm overlapping these preps. So now I've got, these are 3 sources of vegetables, 4 if you count the green beans. Then I've also got 2 sources of protein, and I cook eggs every morning, which isn't something you really have to prep. You could do like a frittata or egg bake, and that would be 3. That would be awesome, but you don't need to. Most eggs you can cook really, really fast, or hard boiled. I know Allie really loves them hard boiled. I'm kind of picky. I like really, really good food, and I'm about textures. So I like to do soft boiled eggs. Problem is, every time I do it, I screw it up. I can't peel the eggs. I'm just a hopeless case with the soft boiled eggs. But I'm also a sucker for them. So when I go for ramen or brunch, soft boil has to be in there. So a couple of those keys, and then carbohydrates and fats. Now, there's not a whole lot that I have to worry about with fats, eating whole eggs in the morning, and you can kind of see here in the corner, but pretty much always got avocados in stock. I'll have cashews and peanut butter throughout the week, but those aren't things that I typically need to prepare too much of. They're pretty much just there when I need them. And in terms of carbohydrates, I already prepped some rice, so they're in there, they're good to go. Same with sweet potatoes, and I've also got kind of a backup it's a root vegetable medley of carrots, roasted sweet potatoes and that sort of stuff. So it's really, really easy for me to just toss that into the oven if I need to, which I probably will do this week, as Allie and I are really big into getting our budget straight, right? We're actually wanting to buy a house soon, so it's important for us to make sure that we're following that budget. And the reason I bring that up is because you don't have to break the bank just to meal prep your foods. And same thing with the quality of foods that you got. We do have our like bougie buys, as I'll call them. Like, I went and got raw milk this weekend at the farmer's market because I wanted to experiment. And we have some of our favorite things, and of course we buy some good steaks. But the other thing is that we just want to be really, really smart about how we're putting our money out there. We want to buy our house. And so those are just a couple of things that we do to help us out, stay within that budget. And so we had to get a little bit creative this week. So now what I'll do, another thing that helps with meal prepping is kind of having a groove of your groceries. So as an example, this first weekend of April, which is the next weekend, I'll probably go and bulk buy some proteins, something like from Costco or from Safeway, where they have really, really good deals on my favorite steaks and different cuts of meat. I'll go and kind of bulk buy that, and that way it gets into our budget right away. So that's just a little tip on kind of on the budget side, but also on the meal prep side, because now I don't have to worry about going every single weekend to restock that. So kind of a hack there with meal prepping is making sure you always have a frozen backup. And if you can, cool, you can go and buy it fresh from somewhere, but we just like to prepare a lot of food at home. And like I said before, I'm a real big foodie. I like the experience of food. And so I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure I'm enjoying that. So I talked about carbs. I got off on the meal prep bit a little bit there. But we have rice, we have sweet potatoes, and I've got that potato medley. I've also got sourdough bread. It's in my cabinet over here that Allie and I both have pretty much every single morning. And sometimes we'll change that up. And really that has us set up. So I want to see you get at least 2 of each of those sources. So protein, veggie, carbs, fats, and I would add fruits in there. Okay? Don't go demonizing fruits. They're an excellent source of micronutrients. They can be a really great starchy carbohydrate, such as my bananas, which I use. I'm pretty much bananas for bananas. I go like 2 a day, at least 1.5, because I usually have them frozen when I can make a post-workout smoothie. And then I have an orange every morning for breakfast. So those are kind of my go-tos right now, and those will shift, right? But good to have and super easy to store, not something you have to worry about. And you can easily rotate those in and out. There's not a whole lot of preparation that goes into that. So with a couple of these simple buys and organizing, I've already got my week set up for at least 3 of each actually. And that's something important to remember for you as well, is that it's not too hard to have some that you're gonna make on the go, such as scrambled eggs. Maybe you don't eat scrambled eggs, that's cool. But there are some other really, really easy, minimal prep things that you can eat for breakfast, you can eat for lunch, like having a salad that you don't have to cook, or having overnight oats that you can make 3 to 5 at a time and just pull them out of the fridge and they're ready to go. The last thing that I wanted to share, and this is gonna help keep your food as fresh as possible, is when my chicken is done, I'm gonna put it in this Pyrex snapware. I really like this one. As you can see, we kind of have a medley because we just collect them over the years, and they need some replacing because they've got cracks in them, and that lets air and moisture into the container. So the reason I like this snapware is because it'll keep it nice and tight, and it mostly protects it from moisture. Not always a perfect science. Now the last thing that I want to recommend in terms of meal prepping or food prepping is going to be, I actually have one more thing. So this is going to be the last kind of tool or set of tools, and that would be a solid cutting board and a nice sharp knife. So I use this knife sharpener every single time before I prep food or cut it up, because a dull knife can actually be more dangerous. You want to make sure that you're cutting all the way through that. Thanks, restaurant industry, for teaching me that for the many years that I worked in the industry. So this is our finished product. I let it cook for 45 minutes, high pressure, slow cooked for an hour and a half, or just in that keep warm. Then I just shredded it with some tongs. So now I'll let it sit in here for another 20 to 30 minutes while I make dinner. Keeps it warm, keeps it juicy. It's good to go for the week. Utilize your time the best. So as an example, you might buy pre-cut veggies so that you don't have to chop them up. And that way you can just saute them or roast them or throw them on top of a salad. Easy as that. You want to minimize what you have to do, but like I said, this method, and what I'll do is like a restock prep day, and that'll be on usually like a Wednesday or Thursday, probably a Thursday, and that's when I'll grill out those steaks and maybe redo a round of rice there and just kind of restock. And that way, Friday, Saturday, Sunday can actually be a success because now I've just restocked some of those things that I was missing. And there's still room in there to go out. Yesterday, Allie and I had pizza because we like to have at least one meal where we just have like nothing to do. And that's as easy as tossing it in the oven, pulling it out. And I always eat a little bit of protein extra with it to make sure that I'm filling it up on good stuff before all the pizza. So that said, this is exactly how I will do meal prep. And we'll additionally do some things throughout the week, which I've heard called rolling prep, and I like that because what that basically means is, all right, if I'm gonna make some dinner, like tonight if I'm gonna have my chicken and my roasted carrots, then I'm just gonna make extra. So dinner today is lunch tomorrow. So as you can see, you don't have to fall within these really, really specific guidelines, which is usually where we get locked up in thinking about meal prep, is because we think, man, I've got to get all these perfectly lined up plates and colors and proteins and veggies and all that. And yeah, I want you to have that stuff accessible, but it doesn't have to be maybe some of the organization that you see on Instagram. Because honestly, we just have a bunch of these containers laying around filled with stuff to just grab and go throughout the week. So hopefully that helps you simplify your meal prep, because it tends to be one of the things that throws us off the most. Usually, I see people succeeding with at least one meal prep day a week, but then failing on the weekend because you really can't create a sustainable, like lasting recipes throughout the week unless you utilize the freezer a little bit more, which, as I shared, houses a couple of our other things in there like proteins and veggies. So keep that in mind, take a few tips from this, and if you use these tips, I'd love to hear from you in the comments to see what was it that worked for you, or maybe something that you haven't heard before. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Definitely like the video, because if you made it to this point, I know you're gonna use something that you heard from it. And you can also follow me on Instagram at JoeMikePaul, because there I post some of my more daily routines within preparing food, cooking food, and how to make it good and flavorful. Because no one wants to go around surviving on a diet of chicken, broccoli, and rice. It's no good. It's tired, it's fatigued, it's out of here. It's burnt out, so are you. So start meal prepping your food this way. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you found something useful from this video and know someone else could, please share it with them as well. Thanks for stopping into my kitchen, and I'll be back with you next week.